Hey there everybody! Today I'm going to make for you one of my large family's most requested recipes, homemade granola. It's easier than you think and it's going to be a lot cheaper than buying granola at the store. So stick around and let's do some baking together. A little bit about this recipe. My husband comes from a Mennonite background. I'm not sure if I've told you guys this before or not, but he's 100% Mennonite, both sides of his family, going hundreds and hundreds of years back, and boy did they have some amazing recipes under their belt. So this recipe is from his background, and I also wanted to mention that it's usually my husband who cooks it. So I hope I can do it justice. My husband works in robotics in dairy farms, and in the wintertime he spends most of his day in cold barns. He finds that your typical breakfast cereals like Cheerios and Rice Krispies and even some of the granolas from the store are just not filling enough. So early on in our marriage, he started making homemade granola, and this is what he eats for breakfast every day. In his words, this is the only thing that sticks to his ribs and keeps him full until lunchtime. My kids have caught on to this as well, so they also eat a whole lot of granola, which means we make it in massive quantities. So the recipe I'm going to show you today, it will last our large family about 2 weeks worth of breakfast, just to give you an idea. If your family is smaller than that, you might want to cut the recipe in half, or you can also make this huge batch. It stores in jars for at least a month on your shelves, or you can freeze it. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to toast your oats. I'm using a massive roasting pan. This is what I use. So Canadian Tire, you can find these. They're nice big roaster pans. Maybe I will link them below in case you want to buy one in my affiliate links. In here I have 18 cups of Quaker oats. Now you don't want the quick cooking oats or like the 1-minute oats. You want more of a rolled oat, something that takes a little longer to cook. And I have found that this is an instance where you don't want to buy the no-name brand. You don't want to buy the cheaper brand. Quaker really makes a much better granola. So wait till it's on sale and stock up on your Quaker oats. They're the best. You're going to toast these in the oven by themselves on 350 degrees for 10 minutes. Okay, your oats are toasted. Now it's time to add a bunch more yummy ingredients. This isn't an exact science, so I'm going to show you how you can also alternate this recipe to your taste. But in general, you want to follow these amounts. So to our oats, we are going to add 1.5 cups of chopped nuts. I have walnuts here because they're my husband's favorite, but you could add whatever nuts you want, whatever ones are on sale. You're also going to add 1.5 cups of sunflower seeds. Obviously, they're out of the shell. I get unsalted because it's healthier for you. So these are unsalted sunflower seeds. Then goes 1.5 cups of all bran. This is just all bran cereal. You can also use wheat germ or something along those lines, but it just adds that extra kind of fiber and hearty taste. 3 teaspoons of vanilla. And 2 cups of vegetable oil. You could also use, we've used olive oil as well. Just whatever you have on hand, whatever your budget allows. And then I'm adding in 2 cups of honey, and I'm using my handy dandy Pampered Chef container for that because it's just so much cleaner and easier than trying to scoop honey out of a regular cup. So now that you've got those ingredients in, you're gonna give it a real good stir. You really wanna coat all of the oats. You'll notice here I don't have any dried fruit in yet, and there's a reason for that. The dried fruit actually doesn't get added until after you are done cooking the recipe. It would make a real mess and be really sticky if you put dried fruit in this before you put it in the oven. if you like this recipe, like the video. That would really help me out. Okay, so I've got the granola all stirred. I'm about to pop it in the oven. It smells so good even before I have it completely baked. Anyway, I want to let you know that you need to set your oven once again to 350 degrees, and this needs to go in the oven for about 20 minutes. If you are baking a smaller batch than mine, if you're having this recipe, it probably only needs to bake for about 15. But what's really important about doing granola this way in your roaster pan is you need to take it out of the oven every 6 or 7 minutes and give it a good stir. Scrape against the sides of your roasting pan so that nothing sticks or burns. So if you are putting this in the oven for 20 minutes on 350, that means you're going to be taking it out at least twice to give it a stir. So I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, so our granola is fully baked, nice and golden, crispy, smells delicious. It's out of the oven and I'm ready to do the next step. But before I do that, I just wanted to mention, have you subscribed to the channel yet? If this is your first time here or your 100th, don't forget to click that red button. I wanted to give a little confession at this point. When I first started watching YouTube videos a couple of years ago, just like while I was cooking or folding laundry, there was just certain channels I like to watch. I didn't fully understand what this whole subscription thing was all about. I didn't actually understand that I even needed an account. So I would just go on YouTube and I would search for these channels every time without realizing that I could make my own account and customize it so that I was subscribed to the channels I liked. So if you are on here and you are kind of clueless like I was, it's really easy to make your own YouTube account. If you have a Gmail account, it's super easy that way. But anyway, it's really easy to make an account, subscribe to your favorite channels, and then every time you go on, you just click in the sidebar under subscriptions and up they come. So that's just a little bit about subscriptions for dummies like me, in case you don't know what it is and you would like to hop on board and join the community. All right, let's get to the next step for our granola. So at this point, you're going to add your dried fruit. I have here about 2 cups of dried cranberries. You can also use raisins. My husband is quick to say you can add even more dried fruit than this if you want. Some good ones are also dried pineapple or banana chips. You can also add coconut if you want at this point, shredded coconut, but I'm just gonna add cranberries because that's what we like. And cranberries and walnuts are so good together. So we've got that in there. We're gonna give it another stir. Again, scraping the sides to get all the sticky stuff off. Okay, at this point, we are going to let our granola sit for a couple hours to cool down and also just kind of harden a bit. So I leave it sitting here without a lid on, and it will just help it crisp up a bit and cool down before we store it. Before I show you how I store my granola, I'm actually gonna put a clip right here that's gonna show you what exactly the measurements are for the recipe. So if you need to go ahead and watch this again and pause on the actual recipe or take a screenshot of it, you can do that right now. Okay, so my granola has sat for several hours. It is now cooled down. I'm ready to store it. I wanted to give you a few tips about storing this granola. In my home, we actually don't tend to store things in plastic. Early on in our marriage, I think I read one too many articles about the connection between certain types of cancers and the chemicals that leach out of plastic. So personal choice for our family, we use glass jars or stainless steel containers to store any food we make that's gonna be in storage long term. I'm gonna show you what I use. So we actually bought canisters, so you can have a stainless steel canister like this, or I have like pretty big glass ones like this, or just a big huge mason jar. And to tell you the truth, the humble mason jar is what our family uses the most to store food in. You can put mason jars in a freezer, you can put them in the fridge, they can get hot, whatever. Most of our mason jars belonged to our mothers, our grandmothers, and they've been passed down to us, so they last a really long time. If you're not as crazy paranoid as I am about plastic, don't hesitate to use plastic to store. Now I'm gonna show you just how I do it right now. Okay, so here's my yummy looking granola all cooled down. Here are my jars. And to make this a super easy job that's not as messy, I just use like a soup ladle scoop to scoop it out. And I use one of our canning funnels to put it in the jars. And that way it's not getting all over the place. So here we go, let's get started. See how fast I can get this done. Okay, so there you go, you guys. I've got all my granola jarred up. As I said before, this is enough for about 2 weeks for our family, but I did want to let you know that the equivalent for measurements is probably about 5 boxes of cereal or 5 boxes of granola that you would buy in the store. This recipe cost me between usually $10 and $15 worth of ingredients. So if that gives you an idea, it's kind of like if you bought a box of granola and it only cost you $2 or $3 per box. Granola, good quality granola, is oftentimes way more expensive than this in the store. So it's a pretty good deal if you can just make it yourself, as our family does. It saves you money, but it's so much healthier too. You're not going to be dealing with all the preservatives and some of the nasty chemicals that can come in store-bought things off the shelves. So you can just feel good about feeding it to your family. At this point, I'm going to hook you guys up with even more of my cooking videos. So watch for those coming up in just a sec. I'll also link them below, along with some affiliate links to some of the mason jars and roasting pans that were used in this video in case you want to purchase them for yourself. We'll see you guys in the next video. For the least, this is Jen.